The Bus Stop Connection, Chapter 1. Morning Routines. The October sun was just beginning to paint the sky with soft shades of pink and gold as Sarah Mitchell made her way to the downtown bus stop, her worn backpack containing everything she owned in the world. At 24, Sarah had been living on the streets for 8 months, ever since losing her job at the nonprofit organization and subsequently her apartment. The morning ritual of walking to the bus stop had become her anchor to normalcy, a reminder that life continued to move forward even when everything felt uncertain. Sarah chose this particular bus stop because it was in a quiet residential neighborhood where people minded their own business, where she could sit on the bench and watch the morning unfold without drawing unwanted attention. The bus shelter provided protection from the weather, and there was something comforting about watching regular commuters begin their predictable days while she tried to figure out what came next in her own unpredictable existence. This morning, as Sarah approached the familiar bench, she noticed she wouldn't be alone. A little girl, probably around 6 years old, sat swinging her legs from the bench, her blonde curls catching the early sunlight. She wore a pink backpack and a school uniform that looked neat but not expensive, and she seemed to be waiting patiently for something or someone. Chapter 2. An unlikely conversation. Sarah hesitated, unsure whether to sit down or find another location. In her experience, children with their innocent questions and loud observations could draw the kind of attention that homeless people learn to avoid. But the little girl looked up and smiled with the open friendliness that children possessed before the world taught them to be wary of strangers. "Good morning," the little girl said cheerfully. "Are you waiting for the bus too?" "Good morning," Sarah replied, settling cautiously onto the far end of the bench. "Yes, I'm waiting for the bus. I'm waiting for my daddy," the little girl announced. "He's supposed to pick me up here after he drops off some papers at his office." "I'm Emma Wellington, and I'm 6 3/4 years old." Sarah felt a small smile tug at her lips. There was something refreshing about Emma's matter-of-fact introduction, the way she included her age down to the quarters as if those months were critically important. "I'm Sarah," she replied. "It's nice to meet you, Emma." Emma studied Sarah with the frank curiosity of childhood, taking in her layered clothing, her backpack, and her general appearance without judgment but with obvious interest. "Do you live around here?" Emma asked. "I don't think I've seen you at this bus stop before." Sarah felt the familiar tension of trying to answer questions about her living situation without lying to a child or making the conversation uncomfortable. "I don't have a house right now," Sarah said carefully. "I stay in different places." Chapter 3. Simple truths. Emma absorbed this information with the seriousness that children brought to learning about the world around them. Rather than being frightened or confused, she seemed genuinely curious. "You don't have a house? Where do you sleep?" "Sometimes at the shelter, sometimes other places," Sarah replied honestly. "I'm working on finding a more permanent place to live." Emma nodded as if this made perfect sense to her. "My daddy says sometimes grown-ups have to figure things out, and figuring things out takes time." "Your daddy sounds very wise," Sarah said, touched by the little girl's acceptance of a concept that many adults struggle to understand with compassion. "He is wise, but he's also sad sometimes," Emma said with the blunt honesty that children use to describe their observations. "Ever since my mommy went to heaven 2 years ago, Daddy gets sad, especially at nighttime. He tries to hide it, but I can tell." Sarah felt her heart tighten with empathy. "I'm sorry about your mommy, Emma. That must be very hard for both you and your daddy." "It is hard," Emma agreed matter-of-factly. "Daddy works a lot because work keeps him busy, but I think he gets lonely. And I get lonely too sometimes. I miss having a mommy to braid my hair and read bedtime stories and make cookies with me." The simple honesty of Emma's words struck Sarah deeply. Here was a little girl who had everything material that money could provide, but who was missing something that couldn't be purchased: the presence of a mother figure in her daily life. Chapter 4. A proposal from the heart. Emma swung her legs thoughtfully for a moment. then turned to face Sarah directly with the kind of serious expression that meant she was about to say something important. "Sarah, you need a home and I need a mommy," Emma said with the straightforward logic that children use to solve complex problems. "Maybe we could help each other." Sarah felt her breath catch. The simplicity of Emma's suggestion was both heartbreaking and profound. This little girl had identified both their needs and proposed a solution with the kind of clarity that adults often lost in overthinking situations. "Emma, that's a very sweet thought," Sarah said gently, "but it's not that simple. Your daddy doesn't know me, and there are lots of complicated things that adults have to think about when it comes to decisions like that." "But grown-ups make things too complicated," Emma replied with 6-year-old certainty. "If someone needs something and someone else can give it to them, then they should help each other. That's what my mommy used to say." Before Sarah could respond, a black sedan pulled up to the curb and Emma's face lit up with excitement. "That's my daddy," she announced, gathering her backpack and standing up from the bench. Chapter 5. An Unexpected Meeting. Marcus Wellington stepped out of the car, and Sarah immediately recognized him as someone who moved through the world with confidence and purpose. He was probably in his mid-30s, wearing an expensive suit that spoke of professional success, with kind eyes that reflected the sadness Emma had mentioned. "I'm sorry I'm late." "Sweetheart," Marcus said as he approached the bus stop. "The meeting ran longer than expected." "It's okay, Daddy, I made a new friend," Emma said, taking her father's hand and pulling him toward Sarah. "This is Sarah. She's been waiting for the bus, and we've been talking about important things." Marcus looked at Sarah with polite curiosity, taking in her appearance and situation with the quick assessment of someone who had learned to read people and circumstances efficiently. "Hello," Marcus said, extending his hand with genuine warmth. "I'm Marcus Wellington. Thank you for keeping Emma company." "Sarah Mitchell," she replied, shaking his hand and feeling slightly overwhelmed by the situation. "Emma is delightful. You should be very proud of her." "I am," Marcus said, his expression softening as he looked at his daughter. "She has a gift for making friends wherever she goes." Chapter 6. The Intervention of Innocence. "Daddy," Emma said with the determination that meant she had something important to discuss. "Sarah doesn't have a house right now, and I told her that we have lots of empty rooms in our house. She could stay with us, and then I could have someone to help me with girl things, and you wouldn't be so lonely." Sarah felt her cheeks burn with embarrassment. "Emma, we talked about this. It's not that simple." But Marcus was looking at his daughter with the kind of attention that suggested he was actually considering what she had said, rather than dismissing it as childhood fantasy. "Emma, you can't just invite people to live with us," Marcus said gently. "Sarah has her own life and her own plans. But Daddy, she needs help, and we need help too. You're always saying we should help people when we can, and you're always saying you wish you had someone to help with mommy things. Sarah could help with both." Sarah watched this exchange with fascination, seeing how Marcus balanced his desire to teach his daughter appropriate boundaries with his obvious love for her generous heart. Chapter 7. Taking a Chance. "Sarah," Marcus said, turning to address her directly, "I apologize if this situation is uncomfortable. Emma has a very big heart, but she doesn't always understand the complexities of adult situations." "She understands more than you might think," Sarah replied quietly. "She's a remarkable little girl." Marcus studied Sarah's face, perhaps trying to gauge whether she was someone who could be trusted, whether Emma's instincts about people were as good as they seemed to be. "Can I ask what brought you to this bus stop this morning?" Marcus asked. "I come here sometimes because it's quiet and peaceful," Sarah said honestly. "I lost my job 8 months ago, and I've been trying to get back on my feet ever since. I have a degree in early childhood education, and I've been looking for work in childcare, but it's hard when you don't have a permanent address." Emma tugged on her father's sleeve. "See, Daddy? She knows about taking care of children. And she's nice. And she listened to me talk about missing Mommy without getting sad or uncomfortable." Marcus was quiet for a moment, clearly wrestling with a decision that went against conventional wisdom, but aligned with his daughter's instincts and his own desire to help someone in need. Sarah, this might sound presumptuous, but would you be interested in discussing a position as Emma's nanny? We have a guest house that comes with the job, and Emma clearly has strong feelings about wanting you around. Chapter 8. New beginnings. 6 months later, Sarah stood in the kitchen of the main house, helping Emma decorate cookies for her 7th birthday party. The guest house had become truly home, and her role in the Wellington family had evolved from employee to something much more meaningful: a friend, a maternal figure for Emma, and a trusted companion for Maury.